Hello, hello, here is Augie again. Let me turn a little esoteric on you today. Let's talk a little bit about why is it that most prayers go unanswered? Could it be that maybe we're not doing it right? Or could it be other considerations? Maybe there are things that is outside of our physical control that controls what's happening in the physical. Because I know I am sure glad that I didn't get everything that I prayed for in my younger days. If I did, I would have been a farmer back in Norway and not here in the United States being a retired pilot. And boy, has it been a ride, and a good one. Today, I'm going to prove to you with scientific evidence that prayers work. Take that to your atheistic friends. But you see, it has nothing to do with religion. So your atheistic friends can be, they're safe. What I'm going to talk about is science, physics. Let me give you a hint. There is a medical doctor. His name is Larry Dossey. He did a lot of research on prayer in medicine. And he wrote a book. The title of the book is Healing Words and Prayer is Good Medicine. He was researching other doctors' work as well as his own, and he found that if he took people of the same illness, approximately same conditions within that illness, broke them up in two groups. One of them did the regular stuff, chemo and all that good stuff that usually doesn't work. And then they did only prayer on the other group. In his book, he showed the scientific evidence that the group that had, no, this was in regard to cancer, and the group that had prayer as treatment only, they had a 39% decrease in tumors over the group that used the regular medicine. And there were other groups that was doing this, and the numbers were fairly similar. So there's something to this. Let's look at the word prayer for one thing. We've heard the word, we think we know what it is, but maybe we don't. What is it actually? It is a request for something to happen in our lives, or somebody's life, or something's life. When I say some things, that I mean animals, that could be birds, that could be environment, that could be anything, just not people, because that's someone. And where does this request go? It goes, we do the request here while we are in the physical, and the request goes outside of the physical into a higher vibratory existence that is a mental existence and quantum existence or spiritual existence, whatever you want to call it. So in that environment, things are different. They are not like it is here. When we talk to someone and ask somebody for something, that's same kind of request maybe. They can hear us and they will answer. When we send something out of the physical, there is no air out there to carry the words. So words are basically worthless. There is another language that works in the spiritual or the quantum arena. So we are in this mind-created universe. Quantum physics has proven that to us. And in there, it is us and other people and other things, and it seems separate, but outside of the physical, we are all connected. Quantum physics also shows that. And beyond that, there is this source of all things, the universal mind, or God, if you will. See, there is a spiritual language that we can communicate outside of the physical to get some form of communication back and forth. This spiritual language, it's more of a qualitative thought that initiates it. It's not quantitative. It's not how much you do. It is the quality of what you do. So this language is not one of words. It is one of emotion, feelings, expression of love, gratitude for already having something, even though you may not have it in the physical yet, but you do have it outside of the physical. If you attach it, you can bring it back. And another thing that is very important of this language is vivid, colorful images. When you use those concepts together, roll it into a ball and send it out of the physical into that quantum arena where everything is. Everything that has been, is, and are thought of in the future is there. We can attach that by our request that is formed into a vibratory, conceptual, emotional, vivid, colorful images and love concept going out there. And this, look around for something that it can match energy with, match vibration with. When it finds it, it will start bringing it back into the physical. This comes out of quantum mechanics. And if you look at the medical research that show that this work, that is exactly what they do. There is a video from a place in China that is called the Medicine-less Hospital in Beijing, where there was somebody with bladder cancer. And they were laying in the bed, and they had a TV monitor with a picture of actually a live picture, a live video stream of the tumor on the bladder, the cancer tumor. And then there was a picture of what it was next to each other on split screen. And then there was about 4 or 5 people standing around. They were spiritual people, I suppose. And they concentrating on that tumor on the bladder. And they kept saying, it is done, it is done. And they visualized it gone. And we on the screen could see the tumor shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking until it was gone in 3.5 minutes. That is the power of the mind. So if you think about that, can start imagining what you can do. We also have to know what we want. If we don't know what we want, how can anybody in the universe know what to bring us, to help bring us? Because we're the one that's bringing, but we have help. And remember also, you do not draw to you what you want. You draw to you what you are. Because you have a vibration that you put out. Your mental and physical vibration is of a frequency. That frequency follows the images that you send outside into the quantum when you request something. That frequency follows everything that you want to have happen out there and bring back here. So that frequency that goes out there, that is your frequency. And that is what you will have coming back. The Christians, they use somewhat of a similar, there's a concept there called laying of hands. And I've actually done that once. And what they did, they didn't touch the body of someone. They had the hand in the aura. And then they visualized, they prayed, and they visualized a healthy body. So there is some connection there. Other religions too. In fact, the Muslims have something similar they do when they're in the prayers. So there is good in probably all religions. It's just that it usually gets screwed up by organization and politics. And here is something that the reason that people have never been taught how to pray is because of organized religion. Look at, well, I grew up a Christian. And the church, especially the Catholic Church, is organized as a government. It's a top-down organization. The guy at the top, he makes the rule, and everybody else follows it. And it is a lot of politics involved, and you do not shake the tree, because then you're kicked out. Now, nobody really teaches how to pray. The only place that I have found it was in some old writing, 2,500-year-old writings, written or at least credited to Moses. I know there's some discussions about him, whether he actually existed or not, but there was someone that was the mold of what they created these writings after. And in fact, there are supposed to be 12 books accredited to Moses. I have 10 of them on the shelf somewhere. And I believe it's either the 6th or the 9th book where Moses talks about prayer. Pray so it work every time. And that is what they do with these medical experiments. Those kinds of medical experiments works pretty much every time. It may be varied results, but to some degree it works every time. It's kind of like the law of attraction. It works every time. Whatever you think about is what you draw to you. See, and also we should only pray for maybe one thing at a time. Though in one session we can combine couple of three things, but we should separate them so they don't get bungled up in each other. So we don't sit down and say that, well, I need thank you, God, but I need a new car, I need a new home, and I wish my cat was healthy. No. You separate things out and you visualize that ball that we send into it for each item into the quantum. Send it to God's order desk, if you like. And then you, in the same meditation, you can go and create another concept. Create that with the visualized images and emotion and the love and everything, and then send that out. But separate that in time from the first one. And then do a third one, maybe, if you need to. Do the same thing. Create that separated concept in the spiritual language and send it into the quantum. Let me go back to Moses for just a second. He talks about praying so you get results every time. And he have about, I think it was 7 things that he said you should do. And I got them written down because this is important that we get all of them. And he said the first thing is, do not flaunt your express of prayer among people who mock you. In other words, don't sit in the middle of a group of atheists and do a live prayer, or somebody that don't believe like you do. Keep it to yourself. It has no importance for anybody else. And the other people, they will impose their vibration of thought onto yours and bring yours down so that it doesn't have the same effect. And then Moses says, go in your chamber. He doesn't mean to go in the closet and close the door. No, he meant going in your chamber is going within. Go within and create those concepts and send them out. Then he says, know what you want. Because if you want nothing, yeah, you'll be successful. You'll get nothing. And also, when you say these things, it should be for the highest good or the good of all concerned. Then Moses says, see it in your heart. He says, see it. That involves a visual image of what you want. And also remember, 2,500-600 years ago when he was around, the word for heart and mind was the same word. So see it in your mind or see it in your heart meant the same thing to them. And now, of course, science has come back to the fact that, yeah, they were right. There is actually a brain in the heart. It has about 75,000 neurons and it's hardwired to the pituitary gland, which is the gate to the universal source. And then Moses says, speak it aloud with emotion so the tears flow. With other words, engage emotion with that ball of request that you're sending out. And then he says, know it is yours. With other words, once you have sent your request out there, done it this way, consider it done. It will be. And then the last thing he says is leave it to God. With other words, Let go of it. Consider it done. It will happen. It will happen along the wild card, which is time. It may come tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon, or it may be 8 months from now, but consider it done and it will happen. See, the thing is that once we commit ourselves to the fact that we know it is done, then in a mind-created universe, we have already created it and it will be yours. We have barriers in your mind, that form of doubt, and that's, oh God, that's too difficult. It's too big to think about. Oh, you come up with all kinds of excuses why this thing that you just prayed for won't work. And when you come up with those excuses, the subconscious says, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess we should just leave that alone. Don't worry about it. He doesn't need it. He doesn't want it. He doesn't know how. You've sabotaged yourself. And this is where the kind of brainwave pattern that you should have doing this is the alpha brainwave patterns, because that's where the magic happens, in the alpha range of awareness. See, prayer is used, well, it is based on universal law. So don't change the rules. Law is constant. Statutes, they're changed at the whim of the slave master that decides what you can do and you can't do. But laws are constant, so don't question those laws. When you do a prayer, it's not a getting thing, it's a giving thing. Even though when you ask for something, it seems selfish when you want it to come back, but when you come back, share it. Because then you, in that prayer somewhere, you put for the good of all concerned. And never really pray for yourself only. Even though that you have a real calamity that is just about to come down on yourself, wish for it or pray for it to be gone for the benefit of my family and my friends and everybody that I can help by not having this thing come down on me. Have that understanding of it and you will be more successful. And you should feel the love in what you're doing. And when you visualize it with colorful images, that is extremely powerful, because that image goes with it out. And that image has the vibration that matches with your vibration, and it goes out into the quantum or to God's order desk, I suppose, and it will be considered. Though there are wild cards in there, and that is, first of all, if you have your own barriers strong enough that can stop it, that could happen. But there are other barriers, and that is like, before you took on the meat suit and became a human, you may have, while still in spiritual form, you may have made arrangements and a contract, an agreement to do certain things here, to experience certain things. Let's say that you wanted to come back here to have something happen that necessarily in the physical sense was not very popular or pleasant. So when you are all here physical, then you say, look at that, oh no, I don't want that to happen. How could this happen? Well, maybe you made the arrangement for it on the other side and it followed you in here because it was all arranged for you since you made the arrangement for it to be. Another thing is that when you do this one day, don't come back 20 minutes later and do the same thing. That kind of looks to the universe like, hey, wait a minute, he was here 20 minutes ago. Doesn't he believe that he can do this? Or usually when you do something like that and you go back 20 minutes later and ask for the same thing, it tells them that you didn't really believe it the first time, but you just want to keep at it. That is okay. But second time you do it, just enforce and remind the universe that you are here still, you're concentrating on it, you still want it as you have requested the first time. We shouldn't really be beggars, you know. And another thing is that do it every day, but enforce what you did the first time. Remind the universe that I am still here, I am waiting for it, and it is here. I am ready. So remind them of the past, the first time that you did it. So it is just a reminder, not just, let's put it this way, if you go on the internet and buy something one day and pay for it, do you come back the next day and buy it again because you didn't think that it worked the first time? No. Consider it done. And fill it with emotion when you do this. That is extremely important, the emotion and the feeling of it. But do it, you can do it every day. And if you don't like the word prayer, call it manifestation, call it law of attraction, call it anything you want. It has nothing to do with religion. It is physics. It is the law of physics that extends into the quantum reality. Because we do live in a mind-created universe. Quantum mechanics proves that to us. There are experiments, repeatable scientific experiments that show that what is created out there is created by our mind. In fact, it's gone so far that they have done experiments where they have changed the past of what they're thinking in the present. So this gets involved, but it is all there. And I think that probably pretty close to cover what I wanted to talk about, because prayer works. And it's just a matter of us being able to communicate with the universal mind in the quantum state. Prayers or manifestations or these things that can be done while you're alone. It could be done as a family, as groups, basketball and sports groups. They do this all the time, but they don't call it prayer. They call it focusing and other things, and it works for them. They perform better. So let's say that as a family, you want something, that you really need something. Sit together, decide what it is, how it looks like, how it feels like, and how it will feel when you have it. And then visualize it together the same way. And then send it out there. And then, of course, once it goes out there, do everything you can here in the physical to help make it happen. That is important because we still have to deal with the physical part. In some cases, it may not be necessary, but it is an addition that often helps to make things happen. And there are YouTubes on this, and you can watch this YouTube again. You probably should, especially if you are doing prayer on a regular basis. There is also a book out there. It's called Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. In there, I talk very extensively about how to do these things and how to make different things work for you. And not just that, it goes into the science some also, and tells you why it works. So you can also have a look at that one. You're going to love the author. That's me. And also go to www.broadcastteamalpha.com. And we got a new and improved website there that we got a lot of good videos and stuff on it. So go check it out. So until next time, be good to each other. See you then.